to the occasion. Hobby or a pastime. It's a calling, it's a vocation, and a way of life. It requires discipline, imagination, and a willingness to explore the depths of human emotion. And she has answered this call with courage, creativity, and a passion that's evident on every page of her work. This evening, we have gathered here to celebrate a remarkable young talent who has chosen to pursue her passion for poetry. At just 23 years old, Anvithi has already demonstrated a level of maturity, creativity, and dedication that's truly inspiring. Anvithi's poetry is not just about words on a page. It's about the world she sees, the people she meets, and the emotions she feels. It's about the human experience in all its complexity, beauty, and sometimes ugliness too. It's about the power of language to capture, to express, and to transform that experience. Coming from a lineage of writers, life is a full circle for her. She started writing poems when she was about 6 or 7 years old, thanks to her mom. Her mom would take her to a park near their house in the evenings and encourage her to write whatever came to her mind. Sometimes she would ask little Anvithi to try writing poems, and even if they resembled pre-existing ones, she always praised her efforts. This constant encouragement made her believe in the power of words from a very young age. Her grandmother, Nadoja Dr. Kamala Hampana, an eminent writer herself, also played a pivotal role in her love for poetry. Anvithi vividly remembers the day her grandmother called her into her room to show her a poem she had written about Anvithi. That moment made Anvithi feel so seen and cherished. Writing, in fact, runs in their family. Both her grandparents are renowned writers, and her aunts, Rajeshri and Aarti ma'am, also have a flair for writing. Growing up in such a literary environment, writing felt naturally to her. From the very beginning, Anvithi's grandfather, Nadoja Professor Hampana, would tell her, "One day we will publish your book. Write 100 poems and we'll make it happen." That was it. The fire was lit, the dream stayed with Anvithi, and she always imagined both her grandparents holding her book in their hands, reading it. It was a beautiful vision Anvithi carried with her for years. It's an honor to share this dream of hers and her grandparents and to be hosting this special event, celebrating the arrival of a fresh voice in the literary world. Dignitaries, guests of honor, ladies and gentlemen present here, I'm thrilled to welcome you to the launch of Miss Anvithi's debut poetry collection, Eclipsed Hues, written under a pen name, Anaha. As I say this, I'm getting goosebumps. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome our distinguished guests on stage. Please join me in welcoming Anvithi, the talented poetess whose debut collection, Eclipsed Hues, we are releasing this evening. Accompanying her on stage is Dr. H.S Shivaprakash, renowned poet and playwright. Welcome, sir. Please be seated. We have Mr. Syam Sudhakar, renowned poet and critic. Please join us on the dais, sir. And guest of honor, Ms. Samyukta Horanad, theatre artist and social activist who will be sharing some inspiring words with us. Please have a seat. Please give a warm welcome to our guests as they take the stage. Thank you all. Also joining us on this occasion is Aarti HN, Head of Programs, Doordarshan, Bangalore. She's among the audience, who also happens to be Anvithi's aunt. She's been instrumental in supporting Anvithi on her literary journey. May I now welcome Bhagyashree, a talented singer with a sweet voice, to invoke the divine presence.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to sing a beautiful line of Kuvempu, the poet which is beautifully written by Kuvempu and beautifully composed by H.K. Narayan, sir. Sir, can you give some reverb or cardless mic? Hello, hello, hello. ಮುಚ್ಚುಮರೆಯಿಲ್ಲದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆಲ್ಲವನು ಬಿಚ್ಚಿಡುವೆ ಓ ಗುರುವೇ ಅಂತರಾತ್ಮ ಮುಚ್ಚುಮರೆಯಿಲ್ಲದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆಲ್ಲವನು ಬಿಚ್ಚಿಡುವೆ ಓ ಗುರುವೇ ಅಂತರಾತ್ಮ ಪಾಪವಿದೆ ಪುಣ್ಯವಿದೆ ನರಕವಿದೆ ನಾಕವಿದೆ ಪಾಪವಿದೆ ಪುಣ್ಯವಿದೆ ನರಕವಿದೆ ನಾಕವಿದೆ ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸುವ ಗುರುವೇ ಅಂತರಾತ್ಮ ಮುಚ್ಚುಮರೆಯಿಲ್ಲದೆ ರವಿಗೆ ಕಾಂತಿಯ ನೀವಾ ನಿನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಣೀಕ್ಷಿಸಲು ಪಾಪ ತಾನುಳಿಯುವುದೇ ಪಾಪವಾಗಿ ರವಿಗೆ ಕಾಂತಿಯ ನೀವಾ ನಿನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಣೀಕ್ಷಿಸಲು ಪಾಪ ತಾನುಳಿಯುವುದೇ ಪಾಪವಾಗಿ ಗಂಗೆ ತಾನು ಭವಿಪ ನಿನ್ನಡೆಗೆ ಹೋಬಿಂದೆ ಗಂಗೆ ತಾನು ಭವಿಪ ನಿನ್ನಡೆಗೆ ಸೋಂಕಿಂಗೆ ನರಕ ತಾನುಳಿಯುವುದೇ ನರಕವಾಗಿ ಮುಚ್ಚುಮರೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಶಾಂತ ರೀತಿಯೊಳೆಮ್ಮಿ ಕದಡಿರುವುದೆನ್ನಾತ್ಮ ನಾಂತ ರೀತಿಯೊಳದೆಂತೋ ಓ ಅನಂತ ಆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆಲ್ಲವನು ಬಿಚ್ಚಿಡುವೆ ಓ ಗುರುವೇ ಅಂತರಾತ್ಮ. ಪಾಪವಿದೆ ಪುಣ್ಯವಿದೆ ನರಕವಿದೆ ನಾಕವಿದೆ. ಪಾಪವಿದೆ ಪುಣ್ಯವಿದೆ ನರಕವಿದೆ ನಾಕವಿದೆ. ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸು ಗುರುವೇ ಅಂತರಾತ್ಮ. ಮುಚ್ಚುಮರೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ. Thank you. Actually, this song was specially requested by Aarti ma'am. This is her favorite song, I think. So, thank you, ma'am.
Lost for words. I think I wasn't wrong when I said Bhagyashri with a beautiful voice. You all agree? Yeah? Yes, that's right. And what a choice, what a rendition. Beautiful, Bhagyashri. Thank you for creating this beautiful vibe here today. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow book lovers, we have reached the moment we have all been waiting for. The official launch of Eclipsed Hues by Anvithi, who writes by the pen name Anaha. It's my great pleasure to invite Dr. H.S Shivaprakash, our chief guest, to graciously release the hues to the world. Thank you for raising to the occasion. Thank you. Yes, as you release the book, you're not only launching a book, but also unlocking the doors to new ideas, perspectives, and inspiration for countless readers. This event that we are witnessing today should act as inspiration to many who are upcoming writers. Anvithi has poured her heart and soul into this collection. You'll be witnessing it as you read it, and we are confident that it will resonate with readers of all ages. So, yes, thank you, sir, for making it available to the world. Yes, one more round of generous applause for Eclipsed Hues. All right, you guys are being very good audience. So when I say a good round of applause, I'm happy that you're doing that. Before I request renowned poet and playwright Dr. H.S Shivaprakash to share a few words on this jubilant occasion, I'd like to share a few words about him. Hulkunte Mat Shivmurthy Shastri Shivaprakash, or H.S Shivaprakash as he is known, is a leading poet and playwright in Kannada. He is a professor at the School of Arts and Aesthetics, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. He heads the Cultural Center at Berlin, known as the Tagore Center, as director run by Indian Council for Cultural Relations. He has 7 anthologies of poems, 12 plays, and several other books to his credit. His works have been widely translated into English, French, Italian, Spanish, German, Polish, Hindi, Malayalam, Marathi, Tamil, and Telugu. His plays have been performed in Kannada, Hindi, Rabha, Assamese, Bodo, Tamil, and Malayalam. Shivaprakash sir is also a well-known authority on Vachana literature, Bhakti movements of India, Sufi, and other mystic traditions. His major works in poetry include Milarepa, Male Bidda Neladalli, Anukshana Charite, Surya Jala, Malaye Mantapa, to name a few. And some of his notable plays include Mahacharitra, Tipu Sultan, Shakespeare, Swapna Nauke, Mante Swami Katha Prasanga, King Lear, and his other works in English include Incredible India, I Keep Vigil of Rudra, Everyday Yogi. Dr. H.S Shivaprakash has been honored with many awards and recognition. Some of them are Kusumagraja Rashtriya Puraskar in 2017, Karnataka Sahitya Academy Award for Poetry, that is Malebidda Neladalli in 1983, Sangeet Natak Academy Award in 1997, Karnataka Rajyotsava Prashasti in 2005, Sahitya Academy Award in 2012. Dear Sir, your presence here tonight is a testament to your support for the literary community and emerging talent. We're honored to have you with us to witness the personal achievement of Anvithis. We're eagerly waiting to hear your words.
I don't know whether I should speak in Kannada or English. Okay. Now I may have to ask you people to raise your heads. Because these days, Kannadigas understand English more than Kannada. I also speak some English. Let me try my English on you. With great delight, I have released this book by Anvithi, whose pen name I don't understand. Anaha. And I think this pen name has been given by, strongly suspect, by her grandfather. So he should tell us the meaning of that word, Anaha. And it was great fun to go through this book of poems. How old are you now?
I'm 23.
I can't believe that. Because I see so much maturity and ripeness in our poems. I can't believe that it's written by a 23-year-old. And of course, she writes about the experiences which are common at her age: friendship, relationship, dreams, fantasies, and so on and so forth. But what I find interesting is that she starts with specific memories. Greeks believed that muses are the inspirers of poetry. Muses means memories. They were goddesses of memories. Memory. But the great English poet William Blake said, the poetry of muse is inferior to the poetry of imagination. Because the greatest leaps of poetry do not depend, though they emerge from memory, they rise up to the level of imagination. So Coleridge said, distinguish between the poetry of fancy and poetry of imagination. And poetry of fancy depends on memory, whereas imagination is something divine. In fact, William Blake called it Jesus the imagination. And Coleridge said, it's the repetition in the human mind of the divine I am. So whether you believe in this theological meaning of imagination or not, you can't dispute that poetry should take us beyond the realms of the seen, beyond the realms of the... It begins with the palpable world and takes us to the impalpable realms of experience. And this is what Anvithi does in the poems. Because I've seen a lot of young people are of her age writing in Kannada and also English. And I also know some Tamil and Telugu and Hindi. I read poems of young poets. They just don't get off the ground. There is no flight of imagination. And this gift doesn't depend on age. It is something inbuilt. Maybe it's a divine gift, we don't know. In one of his vachanas, Channabasavana says, Marahinge hirudu kiridallade, aruhinge hiridu kiridunte ayya. So poetry is a kind of awareness. Aruhu. It has no age. An 80-year-old man can write juvenile poems. And a 10-year-old can write a very mature poem. Because the man or woman who suffers is different from the poet who creates. So I welcome Anvithi to the world of poetry. And I'm sure that she has a very great future. And before I conclude, to give you people a taste of her poetry, I have marked a couple of her poems which illustrate what I said. This is called Burning in the Glow. We can never grow back to how we were before. It's on page number 22. Because you have showed me more than 1 million times that I'm just going to hurt myself every time I go back to you. I'm a fool to have never learned. No matter how many times you hurt me, the words you speak, the things you say make me want to go back to you. But now, your magical words are slowly losing the spell on me, because I have now come to see that you and I are nothing but a moth drawn to a flame. When you are the glowing, enchanting flame, and I am the moth fascinated by it. The moth hurting itself every time it touches the flame is just going to burn itself in the end. Look at the climax of the poem. It begins as an ordinary statement. At the end, it reaches incredible poetic intensity. There's another short poem. There she is, girl in the mirror. There she is, looking at something but yet nothing. She's staring into oblivion as millions of things run through her head. She blinks without her knowledge. I am looking at her, wondering what she may be thinking. Then I realize something so sudden that I am woken from the deep thoughts I was lost in. I realize that the girl is me. So, how she's able to distance herself from herself. This is a remarkable feat at this age. So the book is full of very such surprises. The last few poems are called Hue, numbered differently. The last poem has the pitiless brevity of a haiku poem, Japanese haiku poem. I spoke of you like you created the world while you burnt my whole existence down to mere ashes. So this poem, if it's written by, of course it is written by a girl, it damns all men. It's a damnation of manhood. That was a joke, but it's a remarkable poem. So how she builds the poems up to a crescendo, to a kind of intensity. I was delighted by it, surprised by it. I'm very happy and proud to be releasing this book. And I am sure that she has a very great future as a poet, and I wish her all the best. Thank you.
We all agree with Sir that she has bright future. And thank you for such beautiful words, Sir. I think this is what she needs right now. And don't fill up your heart with those who couldn't love it. Fill it with those who did. For they are the ones worthy of the love and pain that radiate within you. This was Anvithi's poem. I chose it because this is apt for today, that she has people like you around her today to witness this great event. I think it's a milestone in itself, because at 23 years old, I don't remember what we were doing. And I could see how proud her grandfather was while Sir spoke, and how proud her mother and aunt were feeling when, Sir chose some of the best poems from the book. Of course, all of them are great. Every poem has that twist and turn as you read it. Every poetry has some shock involved, electrifying shock. You'll be surprised to read, and you will feel one is always better than the other one. So as you read on, you feel, oh my God. That was my reaction when I read her poetry, and I called her to tell her that this is an amazing feat in itself. So I think one big round of applause for Anvithi for making this, bringing this up to this level is not a small achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow book lovers, I call you fellow book lovers because if you hadn't loved books, you wouldn't be here this evening, right? Okay, so we are honored to have Mr. Syam Sudhakar, a renowned poet and a critic, with us tonight to celebrate the launch of debut collection, Eclipsed Hues by Anaha. Henceforth, I'll be addressing her as Anaha, her pen name. Syam Sudhakar is a bilingual poet and academic from Kerala, India. He writes poems in Malayalam, his native language, and in English. His poems have been translated into several languages, including Tamil, Hindi, Bengali, Manipuri, French, and Chinese. His debut collection in Malayalam, Irpam, was it right, sir? Yeah. Irpam, which means damp, in 2001, and the English collection, Drenched by the Sun, in 2013. These are the most prominent works of his poetic career. He also has published a number of poems and articles in leading magazines and journals, both home and abroad. Syam Sudhakar was born in Palakkad district, Kerala. He completed his graduation in English and history from Thrissur and masters in English literature from the University of Madras. MPhil with a specialization on Dravidian aesthetics and Presidency College, Chennai, and PhD in Beat Generation Literature from the University of Madras. He is also one of the founder members of Center for Performance Research and Cultural Studies in South Asia and poetry advisor of Sydney School of Arts and Humanities. His notable works include Syam Sudhakar Kavithaigal, Poems of Syam Sudhakar, Slicing the Moon, a screen book of poems, Avasanate Kolimeen. Some of the awards and recognitions that he received in a short span of time are Nandita Poetry Award in 2002, Valitol Prize for Poetry, conducted by Kerala Kalamandalam, Madras Kerala Samajam Poetry Award in 2008. Honored to have you with us, sir. It's now my pleasure to invite him to share a few words with us. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Syam Sudhakar. We are eager to hear your thoughts on Eclipsed Hues by Anaha and the significance of this momentous occasion, sir.
Yeah, I hope now I'm audible. Yeah. Thank you for inviting me here, Ardi. And I don't know whether to call Anaha or Anvithi, because from now onwards, in the world of literature, she is Anaha. I'm standing here with great happiness because a young writer is now has stepped on to the platform of literature, and it is a happy moment in the life of everyone too, that like you have been there as a presence to welcome a young writer to literature. I'm so happy, Anaha, and all those who invited me here. And while going through her poems, I got this book a couple of weeks back. Thank you, Anaha. Actually, usually people send it in the last minute and we won't get the opportunity to read the book. And I mean, the whole thing has been, perfectly organized. I'm so happy about that. And while reading this book, I felt that like I'm straight away coming to the point. Actually, there is a kind of deeper loneliness in these poems that I felt. And long before, I wrote one line, loneliness will give you infinity. And after reading this book, I felt that that line was, actually it had some other reflections as well, because when you are alone, and I think the word alone and lonely are slightly different, and solitude is a little different, but like all together has, some common point to say. And when you are alone, you'll get multiple doors to open, and you'll get multiple dimensions to travel. And I think here we have Anaha, and she has traveled. She has opened one of the doors of loneliness, and she started traveling through those. I don't know where she will reach, but she has started her travel, and we cannot predict the trajectory of that arrow straight away right now. But yeah, of course, it's a beautiful thing. As a human being, we see and experience that because we have once went through that trajectory. And now we are seeing a young person who is, as Sir rightly said, she's just 22 and she has chosen poetry. That's really important. I mean, we can choose many ways for our escape, and she has chosen poetry and words. And I think that is really, really important. And in Malayalam, there is saying kind of poems. Actually, it's not a saying. It's written by Kumaranashan, but after some time, certain poems will become as a saying, right? Like, Tannadilla paranullu kaattuvan unnume naranupayam Ishwaran, which means that the God never hasn't given a proper way for a human being to express their own emotions, their own heart. The Tannadilla paranullu kaattuvan unnume naranupayam Ishwaran. Innu bhashayid apurnam. Today, like the language is inappropriate to express your emotion. There are more other than, above the language to, like, as an what is called, you cannot express all your emotions through language. I think these poems has that quality. She has said certain things, but there are more things actually. Like, after you read these poems, you can see that there is a vacuum. And slowly these words from these poems come in and fill that vacuum. And you see that idea of vacuum is getting more and more, so that we as readers can have a tendency to fill that vacuum with our own words and feelings, because it is automatically come as our poems. So that is how these poems work, I guess. And I think from, this is the basic thing about, like, I don't know whether it is, this story is here in Karnataka, because I think it's everywhere. This Ramayana story that Vatmiki went to the forest and then he has seen two birds. Yeah, that it's everywhere. So, that's the basic essence of, I think, poetry, that he has seen two, a hunter is hunting two birds, and then one of the birds, two lovers, and then, like, one bird has been hunted by a hunter. And then automatically this word comes in, like manishada, like to stop, that manishada. I think the words come first than poetry, than, like, the thought. In the same way, I think in these poems, the thought, or like, what should I speak, that the very thought, what should I speak, comes later, and the words comes first. And that is the gap between the idea that we wanted to express and what we say. Like, he wanted to say a lot of things. This poet wanted to say a lot of things to the hunter, like to stop. But he doesn't say that. Like, that's what, it's an utterance. And this utterance come as an emotion. And that's exactly what the essence of human experience means and human memory means. And that's what exactly Shivaprakash sir said about memory, the idea of memory in the poems. It's about that word later come as a memory. And the memory, the idea of memory in these poems are really profound, as well as, like, really so evident, actually. Memory of childhood, memory of birds chirping. In the first poem itself, like, I can see a lot of, many poems, and memory of wounds, memory of being alone in the crowd. It's all connected to memory, the idea of memory. I'll read one poem from maybe the first poem. It's called Black-Studded Hat. As I walked down the road, full of people I know, my eyes hidden behind my black-studded hat, trying to blink away the tears that are trying to take control. A drop slowly slides down my cheek as I quickly wipe it away. Fake smile on these lips of mine that just wants to shout and let out the painful thing buried deep within, which wound the scars of mine in the same spot over and over again. My friends don't notice, as they think I am in a hurry. I don't want to see the people I love or those who love me in return, because I know if I do, there is nothing I can do to stop my eyes from taking control and showing how hurt I truly am. Yeah, this poem showcases exactly like what pain is inside. You can actually see, like if I were an AI, I would have said how many times the idea of the term wound comes in these poems. I think the word wound is a recurring image in this poem. The idea of pain is a recurring image in these poems. So I see a lot of, such imageries, pain, which means that it's connected with memory, and wound, yes, of course, connected with memory, the childhood memories of classroom and bird chirping and many other things, alone in the crowd. It doesn't come as modernist poem, actually. It doesn't have that philosophical hold, like, alone in the crowd or alone in the city, not like Eliot does it. But as a modern writer, like very personal, alone in the crowd, very personal, maybe in Bangalore or in her own home, alone in the crowd. Not in that modernist sense, but in a very contemporary sense. Like she has this idea of now in her poetry, I guess, in her poems. Yeah. So the problem with language of poetry is that language always try to conceal certain things, conceal certain ideas, especially when it is connected with poetry. Language has a tendency to conceal. And that's why we always say language is arbitrary, or we say it is suggestiveness, or we say it is like ambiguity. We use the term ambiguity because there is always a kind of language has a tendency to conceal certain direct meanings. And in poetry, it is very evident. And in her language, it is not opaque. Actually, the light comes in her poetry. And so I really wanted to place her as a poet of, I would use the word translucent, because through her poems, I could see light comes in. I could actually see through, but it is not opaque as well as not transparent. Actually, light comes in and we realize that we know certain things, we can see it. Then at the moment, the poems will say that it is not what you meant. Initially, when I thought, okay, it's about a lover, maybe it could be about God. It could be about anything and everything. So it has multiple layers slowly. It moves from one meaning to the next. So I think these poems are translucent poems which opens up a kind of new readings again and again. Apart from the fact that she's 22. Let us forget that she's 22. Let's think that she's 62 or 72 or 82. Then I think these poems will, many. Let's just focus on the idea of text, and then like it is not just a lover. It could be God or many. It could be nature, and it has the poem has a tendency to move from one layer to the next, and then slowly the poetry start revealing things. Actually, I wanted to use the word unconceal in Martin Heidegger's idea. Language is unconcealing certain ideas. And I think that's really important in poetry. And only poetry can do that. Like, actually, in poems, language just moves into the idea of nature and idea of truth. And that's exactly, poetry differs from novel and any other genre. It is more close to the idea of truth. Poetry is very much close to the idea of truth and this idea of madness, because it speaks from within and it actually touches nature so closely. Maybe if you are writing a novel, you may feel that you wanted to communicate with the audience. In poetry, you doesn't have to. You are speaking in a deeper language, and also readers are reading in a different language of their own. So no one can ever say that they understood poetry or they could actually got the idea of poetry. And that's the beauty of that genre, I believe. And this, her poems are, I think, closer to the idea of nature, idea of madness, and idea of the what is called, the childishness of language, as well as the maturity of language. That is how it works, I guess. So I think her poems are revealing or unconcealing the idea of nature, and at the same time reality, and also idea of memory. And her memory, the idea of memory in her poems are not past memory. I don't know whether there is something called, people always say that there is, we say past and memory, we always connect past and memory. In fact, it is not. I think the idea of memory is always in the present, because we tend to think or memorize things maybe in the past. It happens maybe in the past, but we are deciphering this memory in the present. It happens only in the present. Maybe from our childhood, we are recollecting something from our childhood. It need not be true. It need not be the real fact. It could be from our childhood, or maybe from our dream, or maybe from the books that we have read. But it all comes to our memory as truth. That is how memory is connected with the truth. And when you follow that idea of truth, you write poems. And that is exactly what is happening in the language of a poetry, language of, the poems of a young poet. In her first book, we see actually the idea of truth. And this memory is really important. The dreams are really important. Thoughts are really important. And especially when we stand in the era of artificial intelligence, this idea of memory is really important, because artificial intelligence cannot capture our memory. It's completely ours. It's personal. Thus, we are imperfect. Maybe if you ask an artificial intelligence, can you write a sonnet just like Shakespeare about Bangalore? It might be able to write a perfect sonnet. But in the era of artificial intelligence, I think we don't need that perfection. And now, I think the idea of imperfection has much to do with art than the machine world. And I think that is exactly we are rebelling against, or being imperfect is being human, being artistic. Love poems. And thus, I strongly believe that poetry is imperfect. Thus, truth is imperfect. Thus, memory is imperfect. And so is language. So I'm so happy to be here as a part of an imperfect book, which is completely human, and it has connected with humanity and our own thought, our own belief, and there is something called truth, which is really important. And this morning, I came to Bangalore this morning. I was traveling in a bus, and by around 5:30, 6 o'clock, I woke up and I was just seeing through the window, and I saw a sunrise. And in the evening, I expected to see a sunset, but I couldn't because of the cloudy weather. And I think it's the duty of a poet, if there is a duty at all. We always have different opinions about the duty of a poet, but I think the duty as a poet is to heal. And that is how poetry becomes political. We are all poets are all like earthworms. We actually give what the earth lacks. People take what the earth has, and the earthworm actually, it nourishes the earth and it gives that nourishment back. Maybe in some some plants does it. The roots of some plant does it, give nitrogen and something back to the earth. I think poets are doing that. It's not about like speaking against the power or speaking against capitalism or speaking against certain political party. Poetry doesn't do that. Real poet won't do that. Like their duty is somewhere immersed. Actually, they are deep inside the soil or inside the clouds or inside the sky. It's in some other, their language works. Poetry has a language by its own. It is not Kannada or Malayalam or anything. It has a language by its own. I think this poet has that. And that is exactly what maybe she has published her first book. And this is a responsibility for her. Now she cannot escape from poetry. And that's, I mean, she's now in a trap actually. A trap of being a poet. And she cannot escape from it. And I think this is the burden that she has. It's not a simple burden. Actually, to take the sun with your hand, that's really important. That's what poet does. To take the sun, real sun, with your hand and give it to people. Without burning your hand. Because, no, to take the sun is really a tough thing. It's not an easy thing as like, it's not a romantic thing. We should be equipped with our reading, our travel, expand ourselves, expand our soul, our heart, and then you will be able to take the sun and give it to people. And I think that's exactly what poets do. I wanted to express my gratitude to her for inviting me here. At the same time, I wish her all the experience, both good and bad, not just good and bad experience in the world, and thereby she will be able to create beautiful things and give the real sun to her readers. I wish her all the best. Thank you.
Wow, just wow. I mean, I just wished Sir spoke for some more time. And while he spoke, a lot of thoughts were running on my mind too. One of them is, the sun is out from the eclipse to shed the hues. So yeah, as Sir said, without burning your hand, spread the sun. Right? Okay. All right. Those are really, really inspiring. And I'm sure Anvithi is cherishing every moment today. And I can see she doesn't want to let it go. Right. Okay. Yes, it's human to be flawed. It's human to be imperfect. It's perfect to be imperfect. Right? Yeah. As we celebrate the launch of Eclipsed Hues, it's our pleasure to have our guest of honor, Miss Samyukta Horanad, to share her voice and bring Anaha's words to life. Samyukta Horanad, a noted face in theatre, hails from artist's family. She boasts of having Makeup Nani and Bhargavi Narayan as her grandparents, Sudha Belwadi as her mother, and Prakash Belwadi as her uncle. She's an actor by profession and an animal activist by passion. She has worked in commercially successful movies like Life Ishtene, directed by Pawan Kumar, Barfi, and Oggarane. Samyukta Horanad is a professional model as well, which is obvious today. She did her studies in media, English, and psychology at Christ University. She started her career as a TV show anchor before pursuing her career as an actor. She has many successful films to her credit. Adinagalu, Jigar Thanda, Sarkari Kelasa Devara Kelasa, Kafi Tota, Daivittu Gamanisi, The Villain, Nanu Mattu Gunda, Hondisi Bareiri, and many more. Some of the web series of hers include Gods of Dharmapuri, Locked, and Jhansi. Audience, put your hands together to welcome Miss Samyukta Horanad.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಈ ಥರ ತುಂಬ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸು, ಈ ಥರ ಗಣ್ಯರ ಮುಂದೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋ ಏಜ್ ಆಗಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ ನನಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್, ಸೊ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಗಿವ್ ಮಿ ಅ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕೌಂಟ್. I think Bhagyashree sang a very, very beautiful song by Kuvempu. I have the privilege of being born in a family of artists. So every time the power went off at home, there was no electricity, my Ajji was used to teach us these songs. So at a very young age, a lot of these songs, these lyrics were given to me, and I didn't understand it, that it was one of the best gifts I've got. And I think I'll call you Anaha. Anaha also comes with a little bit of that. But it's always, there's this quote which says, someone I once loved gave me a box of darkness. It took me years to find out that that was a gift too. So a lot of times when you have a heartbreak, and like Sir Syam Sir said, it opens up. It's like a whole universe. It's like a sea of abundance, right? And you start off on the journey of self-discovery. And Kuvempu's lyrics is about the truth. It's about self-discovery. It's about not being calm and trying to look for that calm. But it all happens on the inside. And this journey of loneliness that she's on, I am really jealous of it, because I don't have the words to write about truth or write about life. You know, there are some poems where she's written about the past, the future, like the present, and she's combined it. It starts off positive, but it breaks your heart, and that's life. And so I think being in love or understanding, or looking at art, somewhere you feel a little bit seen. You know, and that's what you want, that someone out there is feeling what you're feeling. And I think every day I'm in conflict of, where do I belong? What am I doing? Do I belong? Especially in the social media world, where there's constant feedback and everyone's putting things out there. You know, you have identity problem. And then when I read a few poems, I felt like, wow, I know this feeling, you know. I may not be able to put it in words, but I want to say these things out, and there's someone out there who I can relate to, you know. And that's why I can't understand that she's so young, you know. It's a problem I'm having with this whole thing. Like, what did you go through? That, you know, it's so beautifully broken, she is. But at the same time, there's two poems which really is so positive, you know, among all of these things where she's talking about a moth, a flame, and all that. And then suddenly she calls this pain a blessing. And I think I read this again, where grief is just love with no place to go, right? And she talks about this wound that she has. And if she doesn't heal from it, she's going to bleed on people who are coming close to her. And I think that is a little too much for you to write. I think I'm very, very grateful that I'm here today. And, you know, I started dressing or talking or behaving like my grandmom. You know, once she left, I suddenly started cooking, because I'm finding her in a lot of things I'm doing in every day. I wish I was a little bit like her. And the things that she has spoken about, or things she said out of anger, her madness, her everything, you know, I wish I'm like 1% of that. And when she has dedicated this to her grandparents, I think it runs in her blood. I mean, of course, not taking away talent from you. It takes a lot to write like this. To even, every word like sort of has an emotion, and there are these hues that she's written, where it's just 2-3 words, and it really, really made me stop reading few of these things. Let me read out my, there are a lot, but let me just read one. 1 second. Okay, this is Hue 4. When you're not fed love on a silver spoon, you learn to lick it off of knives, they say. But that's the thing about tongues, isn't it? Always hidden and tucked safely away, so that the cuts and the scars can stay secret, safe. Yet every taste of love or pain is a harsh reminder of the cuts that never truly healed. What is this? It's so, so beautiful. I think we all carry our own baggage, our own memories, and there are so many things that you can do with it, right? But it's only a few, like 0.1%, who can convert it into something like this. So I think a big round of applause for her, because I wish I could do that. I wish a lot of people. It even happens when you listen to a very good song. You may not even understand the language, but because of the emotion that's gone behind it, suddenly tears are rolling down your eyes. It comes with that much experience to write so effortlessly. There's something inside that has gone through some churning, I feel. And I think your long journey of self-discovery and loneliness is the greatest curse and blessing. And that's all I can say. I can't talk like them because they come from a lot more experience of writing. I just come with emotion that I'm feeling. So all the best, and thank you very much for having me here.
I could feel the vibe, the emotion, the feeling that Samyukta was going through, because all of us are going through the same thing. If you had read her poems, you would understand what Samyukta spoke about just now, because as you read her poetry, you kind of take a deep breath after every poem, and that's a promise. You kind of settle down, and then you are like, what was that? You know, that's a feeling I had too when I read her poem. And Samyukta, that was a beautiful rendition. You chose a very unique poem. Of course, all of them are unique, but the poem that you chose actually showcased the poet's, Anaha's unique perspective. Thank you for being a part of this remarkable achievement of Anvithi's. Let's give a big round of applause to Samyukta. Yeah. All I can say right now is the answer to Samyukta's question, what was that? I would like to sum up like this. It's an old soul in a young body. Otherwise, it's not possible for a 23-year-old to write so much, because physically you have not traveled that journey to write so much, right? So the bleeding of, the pain, the heartbreak and all that, you start thinking or pondering over these things once you cross 30. But here we have the person in her 20s writes about these things. So it would be apt to say an old soul in a young body. Right. As we gather here this evening, we're not only celebrating the launch of a book, but also the culmination of Anvithi's passion, dedication, and hard work. It takes a lot of hard work to do what she has done, right? Her poetry is a reflection of her unique perspective, creativity, and talent, and of course, her emotions and feelings. Throughout Eclipsed Hues, Anvithi takes us on a journey of self-discovery, love, loss, and hope. Her words are woven together with care, precision, and emotion, creating a tapestry that is both personal and universal. You also feel the pain about yourself, your own journey, your own life. At the same time, you also tend to feel what the other person would have gone through after reading this. So if you have not been able to put your emotion in place, or you've been unable to describe what you're going through, I think this poetry helps. It does its job of placing your emotion exactly where it has to be. Right? And I invite you to join me in congratulating Anvithi on this remarkable achievement. Let us celebrate her success and welcome her to the literary community. As Syam Sudhakar sir said, poets or the artists or the literary people are like earthworms. We have a new earthworm who is binging on the manure, the produce that her grandparents, her aunts, her parents, and everybody in the literary world is throwing at her, right? Okay, so please join me in welcoming Anvithi to the stage, to the microphone, in fact, where she will share some of her thoughts with us.
Hopefully everyone can see me. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today to celebrate the launch of my book, Eclipsed Hues. This book is not just a collection of poems, it's a piece of my heart and the journey of life that I've been through so far. This is an incredibly special moment for me, and I'm so happy to be sharing it with all of you. First, I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the dignitaries who are here today. To Dr. H.S Shivaprakash, sir, who inaugurated my book, thank you for honoring us with your presence here today, sir. Having you here makes this moment even more special. A special thanks goes to Mr. Syam Sudhakar, sir. Not only are you taking the time to talk about Eclipsed Hues here today, but you've also shared invaluable tips to help me grow as a writer in the future. Your guidance and encouragement means so much to me, and I'm deeply thankful for your time and for your insights, sir. I also want to thank Ms. Samyukta Horanad, ma'am, our guest of honor, who is doing such an incredible work towards starting an NGO for dogs and cats. Your passion for animals and the brand you're building is truly admirable. I can't wait to see the impact you and your brand have. Thank you for being a part of the celebration. I want to take a moment to dedicate Eclipsed Hues to my grandparents, Mandya Aji Mandya Tha, whose love and support have always been a guiding force in my life, and to Bengaluru Ta and Bengaluru Aji, who are writers themselves and inspired me to embrace the power of words. This book is a tribute to their legacy and the lessons that they've passed on to me. For as long as I can remember, writing poetry has been my way of understanding the world. Whether it was moments of happiness, sadness, confusion, poetry has always given me the space to explore and express these feelings. Each poem in Eclipsed Hues holds a memory, an emotion, or a thought that meant a lot to me at some point. Living with ADHD made it difficult for me to remember and keep track of such memories, emotions, and thoughts. ADHD also, because of which writing was actually really special to me. ADHD also made consistency a struggle, and there were times I stopped writing for many years together. Every time I went back to it, it felt like I was starting from scratch. Even remembering the right words or recollecting the flow of words was a challenge. It was disheartening, and I often gave up because it was too painful to keep trying. But somehow I kept going, and this book is a result of it. For me, this book is more than just a personal story. It's about the little moments that we all experience, moments of joy, pain, growth, and reflection. Through these poems, I hope to connect with you and remind you that you're not alone in how you feel. Life is messy and imperfect, but it's also full of beautiful things, even in the darkness. I want to thank everyone who has supported me in bringing this book to life, my family, my friends, and everyone who's been a part of this journey. Your encouragement has meant the world to me. I'd also like to thank Mr. Hulia sir, Mona ma'am, and my aunts Chiku and Dadu, Ta, and my father for making this book launch not only possible, but for making it everything that I could have ever dreamt of. Now, I'd like to share one of the poems from my book, Eclipsed Hues. So the name of this poem is Multi-Storied Masterpiece. Building up hopes like a multi-storied building, brick by brick, word by word, imagination making it reach the sky, waiting for the masterpiece being constructed to be completed. Day in and day out, picturing how things will be. And when the last brick fits, your hopes are crushed like a snail under the wheels of a car. Then the building collapses, and you're standing within the multi-storied edifice you foolishly built for yourself. Having nowhere to run, having nowhere to go, it collapses on you, and you're left to feel the sharp pains all over. You're left there to bleed to death without a ray of light coming to your help. You, beneath this multi-storied masterpiece, you foolishly built for yourself. So, yeah. Eclipsed Hues is my way of sharing a piece of myself with all of you. I hope that as you read it, you find moments that speak to you, comfort you, or inspire you. Thank you again for being here and for celebrating this milestone with me. It means more to me than I can put into words. I hope you enjoy this book and the stories it holds. Thank you.
Before I let go Anvithi off, I'd like to ask her a question. How did the title come to you?
Okay, so Eclipsed Hues is mainly eclipse, right? So during an eclipse, there's normally darkness, but there's also a lot of sunshine. It's just darkness for a few minutes. And hues is a variety of colors. So when you think of an eclipse, it's different shades of darkness or like light that you have to go through during an eclipsed phase. So that is how I came up with the title Eclipsed Hues. So it's mainly the different colors that are there during an eclipse. So yeah, hope that answers your question.
Okay, sir has a question. What's the history behind the pen name, Anaha?
Okay, so I actually stole it. I stole it from my granddad because his pen name is Hampana for Hampanagra Jaya. So that's how from Anvithi NH. So it's a, na, and her. So yeah, thank you.
So Shivaprakash sir was right when he said the name has some connection with Naroja Hampana sir. No escape, sir. Right. So thank you so much, Anvithi. Such a proud moment for your family and friends. Friends and family, friends and cousins. Please raise your hands. Give a big shout out to her. Yeah. That's nice. That's nice. You know how I guessed you are seated there? Because continuously you were clicking her pics like a paparazzi. You were behind her. Right. But that's such a special moment, right? Yes. Congratulations, Anvithi, for achieving this milestone, for continuing the legacy that your grandparents, Nadoja Professor Hampana and Nadoja Dr. Kamala Hampana created, which was kept alive by their daughters and also your aunts, Rajashri and Arati. So this celebration does not end here. It's the beginning of a new journey on an untreaded path, as each human is different. Anvithi's achievement tonight, not just as a poet, but as a young woman who has chosen to pursue her dreams, to follow her heart, and to share her gift with the world is commendable. Congratulations once again, Anvithi. May your poetry continue to inspire, uplift, and challenge us all. Before we end this evening, we would like to honor the guests today. Yeah. May I request Mr. Harshavardhan to honor the guests? Yeah. Ms. Bhagyashree, please come on stage and accept our humble reward or recognition for your sweet voice and the vibe that you created. It was beautiful. Muchu mare illade ninna mundellava bichiduve o guruve. That is life, isn't it? Please come on stage, Bhagyashree. I request the audience to give a big, generous round of applause for the honors. Please accept the small token of love and gratitude for being here. Yes. Lovely audience, please keep this energy till the end of the program. May I now request Professor Nagaratna to honor Dr. H.S Shivaprakash, who is with us tonight, this evening, gracing the occasion and showing his full support and encouragement to the young poet. Sir, please accept this small token of gratitude and appreciation for being here with us despite your busy schedule. It definitely made Anvithi's day. She's beaming with joy. I think it's a very, very momentous occasion for having such a great literary personality amongst us. We request your support, constant support and encouragement, sir. Thank you. May I now call upon Mr. Harshavardhan to honor our guest, Syam Sudhakar. Thank you, sir, for making your presence this evening here. I think it meant a lot to all of us, especially to Anvithi and her parents. We all enjoyed your talk, your insight into the collection, and the depth that you shared with us. Continue to pour your love and support to Anaha. This encouragement, this hand-holding to a new person in the literary world is all what they need right now. A big, generous round of applause for Syam Sudhakar, sir, who made himself available here to be here tonight. Thank you. May I now request Professor Nagaratna to honor our guest of honor, Ms. Samyukta. Thank you, Samyukta, for being here. I think your presence added that charm, that glitter, and that depth. And your experiences that you added to this evening and made Anvithi's experience so special. Your eyes said a lot about the book, about her talent, about her writing skills. And I think we all could reverberate with what Samyukta was saying, because that's what we also felt. Thank you once again. A big round of applause for being here tonight. Thank you, our dignitaries and guests of honor, for accepting this a small token of love. Okay, so this does not end here. How can we not honor Anvithi? Yes, now it's a time to honor Anvithi, And it's none other than our Nadoja Hampana sir who is going to honor Anvithi. So a generous round of applause. Okay, I request all the grandparents of Anvithis to please come on stage and share this limelight with her. Come on, keep clapping so that they join us onto the stage. It's a momentous occasion. It is so fortunate because usually the grandchildren attend the book launch of their grandparents. But here, the grandparents are attending the grand launch of their granddaughter's book. That is the twist. That is a haiku in itself because this is something so unique to having received such adulation, such love, such encouragement. Come on. Yes, that's what we need. That is so cute. That is so amazing. I think, Anvithi, you're really fortunate to having witnessed all this. It's a rare moment. This is going to go down in history. For the grandparents are on the stage to witness the book launch of her granddaughter. And you can see the pride, the love that they are showering on Anvithi. That's amazing. Thank you, sir.
Now it's time to welcome Rashmi, who emceed the program so beautifully. Thank you, Rashmi. I request Harsha and Ratna to honor Rashmi.
Sir. ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಟ್ರು. ಏನು ಹೇಳೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡೇ ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಲೈಫ್.
ಹಲೋ, ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕನಸಿತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದೇನೆಂದರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕವಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೇಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಬೇಕು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪರಿಸರ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹಂಬಲಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಕನಸನ್ನು, ದೀರ್ಘಕಾಲದ ಕನಸನ್ನು ನನಸು ಮಾಡಿದಂಥವಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಅನ್ವಿತಿ. ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ವಿತಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಹೆಸರು ಬದಲಾಯಿಸೋದಾದರೆ ಅವಳನ್ನು ಕನಸು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕರಿಬಹುದು. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ ಕಮ್ ಟ್ರೂ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಡೇ. ನಮ್ಮ ಕನಸು ನನಸಾದ ಸುದಿನ. ಕಮಲಾ ಹಂಪನಾಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಆಸೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಅವರು ತೀರಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತಿಗೆ 5 ತಿಂಗಳಾಯಿತು. 5 ತಿಂಗಳಾದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಪಟ್ಟಷ್ಟು ಸಂತೋಷವನ್ನು ಬಹುಶಃ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮಲಾ ಹಂಪನ ಇವತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಸಂತೋಷಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಇವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಅನಹ ಕಾವ್ಯನಾಮ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ 2 ಮಾತು ನಾನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಏನಂದರೆ, ಎ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅನ್ವಿತಿ, ಅವಳ ಹೆಸರು. ಎನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ನಾಗರಾಜ. ನಾಗರಾಜ ಒಬ್ಬ ತಾತ, ನಾಗರಾಜ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ತಾತ, ಇಬ್ಬರು ತಾತಂದರು ಕೂಡ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎನ್ ಎ. ಮತ್ತು ಅದೆಲ್ಲಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಎನ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಅನ್ವಿತಿಯ ತಾಯಿ ನಾಗರತ್ನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಶಿ ಈಸ್ ಅನದರ್ ಜುಯಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ. ವೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ರತ್ನ? ನೋಡಿ, ಅನ್ವಿತಿ ಅವಳ ಕಾವ್ಯ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆ, ದಿ ಪೊಯಿಟಿಕ್ ಜೀನಿಯಸ್ ದಿ ಸಚ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಶಿ ಹಸ್ ಅಬ್ರಿಡ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಸಚ್ ಎ ವೇ, ಕಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಸಚ್ ಎ ವೇ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೆಸರುಗಳು ಇಡೀ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಹೆಸರು ಬರಬೇಕು ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿ ಕ್ರೌನಿಂಗ್ ಗ್ಲೋರಿ ಈಸ್ H.A. ಹರ್ಷವರ್ಧನ ಅವ್ರ ಫಾದರ್. ನೋಡಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟು ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಎಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ವಿಲೇಜ್ ವೇರ್ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್, ಹಂಪಸಂದ್ರ. H.A. ಹಂಪಸಂದ್ರನು ನೋಡಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇದು ಕಾವ್ಯ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆ. ಪ್ರತಿಭೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅದು ಇಂಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಹಾಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಇಷ್ಟು ಮಹತ್ವದ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ತಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಅನ್ವಿತಿ ಈಸ್ ಲಕ್ಕಿ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಶಿ ಈಸ್ ಎಂಜಾಯಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಬ್ಲೆಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಪೀಪಲ್. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಲಾಂಗ್ ವೇ ಟು ಗೋ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಹರಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದ್ರಿ, ನನಗೆ ಧನ್ಯತೆಯ ಕ್ಷಣಗಳು. ಮರೆಯಲಾಗದ ಮಧುರ ಸ್ಮೃತಿಯ ಕಾಳುಗಳನ್ನು ನನ್ನ ಅಂತರಂಗಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿತ್ತಿದ ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆಗಳು. ಮುಪ್ಪು ಅಂದರೆ ನನಗೇನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ನಾನು 89ನೇ ವಯಸ್ಸು ಈಗ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈ ವಯಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಇಂಟ್ರಾವೀನಸ್ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಿ ತಾವೆಲ್ಲ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್.
ಸರ್, ತಮ್ಮಂತವರು ಮಾತನಾಡಿದರೆ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಅನಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೇಳಬೇಕನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಡು ಯು ಆಲ್ ಅಗ್ರಿ? ಎಸ್, ಸಚ್ ಅ ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ವೇ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರೈಡ್. And I think he beautifully tied the ends this evening. And I'm sure Anvithi is also hoping for this evening, stays like this. And the adulation and the love that she's receiving. And I also hope the same, that it never ends. Please keep showing your love and support and encouragement. Keep it coming. Be generous. It costs nothing. You all agree? Yes. All right. On behalf of Anvithi and her family, friends and close ones, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow book lovers, again I'm saying that, as we come to the end of this wonderful evening, I'd like to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you. One of the advantages of emceeing an event is that you also get all the limelight along with the celebrity. You also get to take the gift and the bouquet home. And I enjoy doing that, right? To our chief guest, Dr. H.S Shivaprakash, guests of honor, Mr. Syam Sudhakar and Ms. Samyukta Horanad, thank you for your inspiring words and for graciously releasing the collection, Eclipsed Hues. So one big round of applause for our guests tonight, who made sure their presence mattered for a young literary person. To our organizers, volunteers and supporters, thank you for your tireless efforts in making this event a grand success. And to our audience, thank you for your enthusiasm, participation, and your presence has made this evening truly cherishable. And thank you for those generous round of applauses. We enjoyed every bit of it. Let us also thank venue providers for their generous support. And please join me for a generous round of applause to express our gratitude to Aarti HN, Head of Programs, Doordarshan, Bangalore, for so meticulously planning, organizing. I'm sure many ideas have been floated to make sure this evening is a success. All right? Very unassuming person. You would not know if we wouldn't tell you about her. So thank you, ma'am, for making this such a grand event and making it so beautiful. To Anvithi, our talented poetess, congratulations once again on the launch of your debut collection. Your poetry has touched our hearts, our soul, and we wish you all the best on your literary journey. Thank you all once again, and I wish you a wonderful evening. This is Rashmi saying see you again until next time. Thank you.